Good afternoon, students.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Okay. So till our last session, we will discuss about the vectors and the different types of vectors and the mathematical operation using vectors. So now we are going to discuss the arithmetic operation over the vectors. So till now we are discussing about the vectors and what are the different, nearly 10 different types of vectors are there. Along that, two extra vectors like position vector and displacement vector. Now we are going to discuss the laws of addition, vector laws of addition, okay, or the arithmetic operation over the vectors. So before entering into the topic, I will give you a brief picture about this lesson. So here we discuss about vectors. Okay, the portion of this vectors is over. Now we are going to discuss about addition of vectors. Addition or subtraction of vectors. Addition and subtraction of vectors. In addition of vectors, we have three different methods are there. One is graphical method. The second one is analytical method. And the third one is component method. Okay. After that, we will discuss about the multiplication of vectors. Multiplication of vectors. Vector multiplication. Here also we have two methods are there. One is multiplying a vector with a scalar. Multiplying a vector with scalar. And the second one, multiplying a vector with a vector. Multiplying a vector with vector. Okay. After this, we want to discuss resolution of vectors. Resolution of vectors. It's a small topic, small and simple topic. Resolution of vectors. After the resolution of vector, we are enter into the main portion, that is motion in a plane. Then only we are enter into the chapter. Motion in a plane. Then we discuss about projectile motion. Projectile motion. Projectile motion is one of the application of the motion of an object in a plane. And the last one is uniform circular motion. Uniform circular motion. So this is what is about the complete picture of the chapter. Okay. So here we already discussed about the vectors and the different types of vectors. Now we are going to discuss about the arithmetic operation over the vectors. That is the addition and subtraction operation over the vectors. We have three different methods are there for the addition or subtraction of vectors. Mainly we are discussing about the addition of vectors. The subtraction of vectors are not needed. So there are three different methods are there. One is graphical method, second one analytical method, and the third one is component method. After the addition operations over the vectors, we are going to discuss about the multiplication of vectors. Here also we have two methods. One is multiplying a vector with a scalar. Multiplying a vector with a scalar. And the resultant or the product obtained is known as scalar product. Scalar product. And the second method is multiplying a vector with a vector. The product obtained is known as vector product. So there are two different methods are there. One is scalar product and other is the vector product. That is multiplying a vector with a scalar, we get scalar product. If we are multiplying a vector with a vector, then we get a vector product. After that, we discuss about the resolution of vectors. Then motion in a plane. That is what is the title of the chapter. So half of this chapter is discuss about the vectors and its mathematical operations. After that, we are entering into the topic motion in a plane. Then we discuss one of the application of motion in a plane, that is what is known as projectile motion. And in motion in a plane, what is we are going to discuss is that in the chapter motion in a straight line, we are discuss or we are explain some terms associated with the straight line motion of an object. Can you recall the physical quantities associated with the rectilinear motion of an object? Ah, yes, it's right. Unmute and say.
Distance, speed, displacement, acceleration, velocity.
Yes, distance, displacement, velocity, acceleration, speed and all. So here we are discussing some terms associated with that of the rectilinear motion of an object, and we derive 3 equations of motions for the rectilinear motion of an object. So the same equations of motion are converted in terms of motion in a plane. So in the third chapter, we discussed the 3 equations of motion for the object which undergoes a straight line motion or which possesses a rectilinear motion. The same 3 equations of motions are going to derive for an object that is moving in a plane. Okay. Then we are discussing one of the application of the motion in a plane, that is what is the projectile motion. After that, the last topic of the chapter is uniform circular motion. So this is what is about the picture of the chapter. I know that this is a new topic, the vectors and its concept. Sometimes you felt it is not easy to digest, so you don't need to worry about it. By using some numerical problems, we can make it is much more easy and similar way. Okay. So here we are going to discuss about the first topic, that is vector addition. So the next heading, vector addition. Vector addition. So if we have 2 or more vectors, basically we are considered 2 vectors. So if we have 2 vectors, we have 3 different methods are there for adding these vectors. So as we told earlier, here we discuss mainly 3 methods. One is graphical method, second one analytical method, and the third one is component method. So first of all, we are going to describe the graphical method of vector addition. So after writing the heading vector addition, write the first subheading, graphical method of vector addition. Graphical method. Under this graphical method, we have some special cases are there. Graphical method. Vector addition, the first method is graphical method. And the first case under this graphical method, if we have 2 vectors, if we have two vectors which are acting along the same direction, if we have 2 vectors which are along the same direction, if we have 2 vectors along the same direction, then the resultant vector is the sum of the magnitude of 2 vectors. Then the resultant vector is the sum of sum of the magnitude of two vectors. So if we have two vectors with the same direction, then the resultant vector is the sum of the magnitude of two vectors. Suppose if we have a vector A and vector B. Okay, vector A and vector B. So here we have two vectors, vector A and vector B. They are along the same direction. They are towards right side. Then the sum of the two vectors which are acting along the same direction, then the resultant vector, that is vector A plus vector B. Vector A plus B, vector B. The resultant vector is the sum of the magnitude of two vectors. It becomes a large vector because vector A is adding along with that of the vector B, then it becomes a large vector, just like that of the simple addition. For example, I will give the values. So the first one is the vector with the length 3 plus the second one is with the 2. What about the resultant vector? This is 3 meter, this is 2 meter. What about the resultant vector? They are along the same direction. Then what about the 5? It is 5 meter. That is 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. The first vector plus the second vector. Magnitude of the two vectors. Okay. The magnitude of the, what is the magnitude of the first vector? 3 meter. 3 meter is the magnitude of the first vector. Magnitude means a numerical value along with its unit. That is what is known as magnitude. So the magnitude of the first vector is 3 meter. What about the magnitude of the second vector? 2 meter. So according to our first law of vector addition by the graphical method, if we have two vectors and they are directing along the same direction, then the resultant vector is the sum of the magnitude of the two vectors. The resultant vector is the sum of the magnitude of the two vectors. Sum of the magnitude of two vectors. So instead of writing vector A plus vector B, here we can write A plus B. You don't need to write the vector sign there because it is the sum of the magnitude of the two vectors. Okay. I will give you one more example for this case. Suppose here I have a block, a wooden block. I will apply a force of 10 Newton. My friend also comes to help me and she applies a force of 12 Newton along the same direction. Then what about the resultant force that we are applied here on this wooden block? So here we have two vectors. Force is a vector quantity. It has both magnitude and direction. This represents vector A. This represents vector B. Vector A is 10 Newton. Vector B is 12 Newton. So what about the resultant force acting on this wooden block?
22 Newton.
Yes, it is 22 Newton. The resultant force is equal to 10 plus 12. That is equal to 22 Newton. So this is a simple vector addition. So if the two vectors are acting along the same direction, the resultant vector is the sum of the magnitude of the two vectors. Okay. So now we can discuss the second case that comes under the graphical method. Case B. If we have two vectors, if we have two vectors are in the opposite directions. If we have two vectors which are in opposite direction, then can you guess what about the resultant vector? Try to guess. If we have two vectors which are in opposite direction, then what about the resultant vector?
Negative.
Yes? Yes, Nimida? Say it louder. Anyone?
Difference between.
Yes. Then the resultant vector will be the difference between the magnitude of two vectors. Then the resultant vector is equal to the difference in magnitude between two vectors. Okay. So if we have two vectors which are in opposite direction, then the resultant vector is equal to the difference in magnitude between two vectors. Suppose we have two vectors, vector A and vector B. Vector A and vector B. Then what about the resultant vector? Here we have two vectors, they are acting or they are directing in opposite direction. Then how we can add these two vectors, vector A and vector B? The resultant vector is denoted by vector R. Okay, vector R represents the resultant vector. Vector R is equal to the vector, first vector, that is vector A. Magnitude, the difference in magnitude of the two vectors. The magnitude of the first vector is taken as A and the magnitude of the second vector is taken as B. So the difference in magnitude of the two vector means A minus B. Or here, instead of writing this, we can add it by taking the negative of the magnitude of the second vector. A plus minus of B. A plus minus B. So in effect, it becomes vector R is equal to A minus B. This is the equation for calculating the resultant vector if the two vectors are acting along opposite direction. Resultant vector, vector R is equal to A minus B. In the previous case, we have two vectors, they are acting along the same direction. So the resultant vector is given by vector R is equal to magnitude of the first vector, that is A, plus magnitude of the second vector B. They are along the same direction. But in the present case, here also we have two vectors, but they are acting in opposite direction. So the resultant vector R is equal to vector A plus vector B, but the vector B is on the opposite direction. So you must put a negative sign here. A plus minus B. You don't need to write this vector symbol because here we are consider the magnitude of the first vector, that is A, plus magnitude of the second vector B, but the second vector lies in the opposite direction to that of the first one. So we put a negative sign here. So in effect, it becomes vector R is equal to A minus B. Is there any doubt?
Ma'am,
Yes.
can it be B minus 2?
Yes,
Can this be b minus a?
it can be b minus a whenever the vector b is greater than vector a. So from this figure, can you say what about the which vector is larger? Is it vector a or vector b?
A.
It is vector a. Suppose if the vector b is large, if vector b is large as compared to that of vector a, then the resultant vector becomes vector r is equal to vector b minus vector a. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Then what about the direction? What about the direction of the vector? Because here they are acting along the opposite direction. What about the sign? So in the resultant vector is taken along which direction? The direction of the resultant vector. Here the vector A is acting along right side. Vector B is acting along left side. So my question, what about the direction of the resultant vector?
Left.
Why? It is right. Why we are taking the resultant vector towards left?
B is more strong.
Yes, because the direction of the resultant vector is the direction of the vector with greater magnitude. Okay, so all of you write the next point comes under this case. The direction of the resultant vector, in this case, the direction of the resultant vector, the direction of the resultant vector is the direction of vector with, is the direction of vector with greater magnitude. Greater magnitude. Because here we are discussing or we are considering the vectors which are acting along opposite direction. So the resultant vector also consists of direction, but the direction of that resultant vector is depends upon the direction of the vector with a greater magnitude. I will give you one numerical example. Suppose we have two vectors with a magnitude 4 centimeter and 3 centimeter. Four centimeter and 3 centimeter. Find the resultant vector. We have two vectors with magnitude 4 centimeter and 3 centimeter. Then find the resultant vector. The resultant vector is given by vector r is equal to magnitude of the first vector is 4. It is large minus magnitude of the second vector that is 3. 4 minus 3 that is equal to 1 centimeter. So this is our resultant vector. 4 minus 3 that is equal to 1 centimeter. Then what about the direction of this resultant vector? Is it is towards right or towards left?
Right.
Yes, it is towards right. Because here we consider the two vectors with the magnitude 4 centimeter and 3 centimeter. When we are comparing these two vectors, here the first vector is with a greater magnitude. So the resultant vector having a direction of the vector with a greater magnitude. So it is directing to right side. But the magnitude will be small. It is equal to 1 centimeter. The resultant vector is 1 centimeter, that is directing towards right side. One more example. Nine centimeter, 12 centimeter. Find the resultant vector, 9 and 12. Yes, Shabarinath, what about the resultant vector in the present case?
3 centimeter.
It is 3 centimeter. That is the difference in magnitude between these two vectors. And what about the direction?
Left.
Left side, because here the second vector is with a greater magnitude. It is directed towards left side. So the resultant vector is also directing left side with a small magnitude that is equal to 3 centimeter. Okay, so that's about the second case that comes under this graphical method. So here we are discussing the two cases comes under the graphical method. The first case, if we have the two vectors, they are acting along the same direction, then the resultant vector is the sum of the magnitude of the two vectors. So in this case, we are not need to bother about the direction of the resultant vector because the two vectors are acting along the same direction. So the resultant vector becomes the sum of the magnitude of two vectors. The second case, if we have two vectors which are directing in opposite direction, then the resultant vector is equal to the difference in magnitude between the two vectors. But in this case, we need to bother about the direction of the resultant vector that is formed here. And the direction of the resultant vector is the direction of vector with a greater magnitude. Okay, now the third case. If we have two vectors, which is inclined at an angle theta. If we have two vectors which are inclined at an angle theta. Okay, this is our third case. So the first case, two vectors, they are acting along the same direction. They are just like that of a parallel vectors. So what about the angle between the first case, angle between the vectors in the first case? The two vectors, they are acting along the same direction. What about the angle between these two vectors then? Yes? Unmute and say. It is equal to 0 because here we have two vectors, they are acting along the same direction. Then we can call it as parallel vectors. They are parallel vectors. The angle between them is equal to 0. In the second case, we have two vectors, but they are acting in opposite direction. What is the angle between these two vectors?
180 degree.
It is 180 degree. It is equal to 180 degree. Now we are discussing our third case. If we have two vectors which are inclined at an angle theta, and in this case, the angle theta is not equal to 0 degree and that of 180 degree. Okay, in the present case or in the third case, the angle theta is not equal to 0 degree and 180 degree. That is, if we consider, if we have two vectors like this is our vector A and this is our vector B. These are two vectors. Then how we can add these two vectors? What is the method that we are adopted here in order to find the sum or the resultant vector? That is what we are going to discuss here. So if we have two vectors which are inclined at an angle theta, then we have two different laws are there or two different methods are there to find the resultant vector. The first method is known as triangle law. And the second method is known as parallelogram law. Parallelogram law. Parallelogram law. First one is triangle law and the second one is parallelogram law. So if we have two vectors which are inclined at an angle theta, then the resultant vector can be find out using triangle law. We can use either triangle law or parallelogram law. So we can discuss these two laws one by one. First, we are going to discuss about triangle law. Triangle law. Okay. So in order to explain this triangle law, first of all, here we consider the two vectors. Consider the two vectors, vector A and vector B. Consider two vectors, vector A and vector B. They are not along the same direction. No, they are neither in the same direction nor along the opposite direction. They are aligned in a particular manner. Vector A along one direction and vector B along another direction. So it is inclined at an angle theta. So we can calculate the resultant vector using this triangle law. So first of all, here we are going to rearrange these vectors. So here we consider the two vectors, vector A and vector B. And we are going to arrange these vectors. We place the vector A like this. Vector A. This is our vector A. And then place vector B like this. Vector A. And here we have vector B. So we have two vectors, vector A and vector B. Arrange these two vectors like this, vector A and vector B. What is the speciality of this arrangement? Yes, it is tail to head arrangement. It is tail to head. This is our vector A. This is the tail portion of vector A. And this arrow mark indicates the head portion of vector A. And the head portion of this vector A is joined to the tail of vector B. And this is the head portion of vector B. So this is, we can say this is the tail to head arrangement. Okay. So in parallelogram law, we consider the two vectors. And these two vectors are arranged in a manner of tail to head arrangement. Tail to head. First of all, we consider the tail, then the head portion. The second vector B is also placed like that. This is the tail portion and this is the head portion, the arrow mark. Tail to head. And this is represents the magnitude of vector A. And this arrow mark represents the direction of vector A. Okay. So according to the triangle law, if we have two vectors, what are the two vectors that we are considering here? Yes, it is vector A and vector B with a magnitude and a direction. They represents the two adjacent sides of a triangle. If they are two vectors with the same magnitude and directions represents the two adjacent sides of a triangle, then the third side, the resultant vector will be the third side of the triangle. This is what is the triangle law states. Okay. So if we have two vectors with the magnitude and the directions represents the two adjacent sides of a triangle, then the resultant vector will be the third side of this triangle, but it is taken in the opposite direction. It is not follows the tail to head arrangement. If it is follows the tail to head arrangement, then the tail of the resultant vector starting from here and the head comes here. But instead of that, the resultant vector is taken in the opposite order. So that is what is the triangle law states. So first of all, we can go through this triangle law. The law states that if we have two vectors, they are representing the magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle taken in the same order. So here we can say that they are in the same order. Why we are called them in the same order? Why we are explained these vectors are arranged in same order? Because it follows a tail to head arrangement. The tail of vector A is here and then head is in this direction. Similarly, the vector B is also arranged in the tail to head arrangement. Okay, so since both the vectors, vector A and vector B follows the tail to head arrangement, we can call them, they are follows a same order. So according to triangle law, the law states that if two vectors are represented, the magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle taken in the same order, they are taken in the same order, then their resultant is represented by the third side of the triangle taken in opposite order. The same thing you can find here. Here we have two vectors. This is vector A. The tail to head arrangement. This is our vector A. Here we have vector B. Vector B is also arranged tail to head. So we can say that vector A and vector B follows the same order. Vector A and vector B follows same order because they follows an order of tail to head arrangement. Then the resultant vector will be the third side of the triangle, but it is taken in the opposite order. Instead of following the tail to head, it follows head to tail arrangement. The resultant vector is follows head to tail arrangement. That is why we say like this, the third side, the resultant vector is represent the third side of the triangle taken in the opposite order. It is not taken in the same order, it is taken in the opposite order. So this is our triangle law. The resultant vector is represented by vector R. Vector R is equal to vector A plus vector B. So once again, I will explain the triangle law. Suppose you just consider we have two vectors. Instead of A and B, we can take it as P. Vector P and vector Q. Okay. The first and foremost thing that we are going to do here, arrange these two vectors in the same order. Arrange these two vectors in the same order. So the next method we are going to do is arranging the vectors in same order, that is tail to head arrangement. Here it is tail to head P. Then we are going to arrange Q, tail to head. This is our vector Q. So here we have two vectors, vector P and vector Q. They represent the adjacent sides of a triangle. They represent the adjacent side means nearby sides of a triangle. Then the resultant vector of this triangle is the third side, and that is taken in the opposite order. This is the resultant vector, vector R. Vector R is equal to vector P plus vector Q. This is what is our triangle law states. Did you copy down this triangle law? The law states that if we have two vectors and they are represented in magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle taken in the same order. This is very, very important. By this term, same order, we mean that the tail to head arrangement. Tail to head arrangement. This is the arrangement of these two vectors. Then the resultant is represented by the third side of the triangle and it is taken in the opposite order. This is not the analytical method. You don't need to copy down this heading. The triangle law of vector addition comes under the graphical method. Is it clear? Try to study the triangle law of vector addition. You don't need to by heart it. Try to draw the figure in your mind. Consider the two vectors and arrange these two vectors in the same order. Same order means arrangement of vectors in a manner of tail to head. Arrange these two vectors in tail to head. So these two vectors are represents the two adjacent sides of a triangle. Then what about the resultant? The resultant is the third side because the two vectors are represent the two adjacent sides of a triangle. Then the third side is represents the resultant vector and this resultant vector is taken in the opposite order. The first two vectors are in the same order. The resultant vector is in the opposite order. Okay, so today I am only taking the triangle law. Tomorrow we can discuss about the parallelogram law of vector addition. So before that, we can once again recall the triangle law of vector addition. So starting with Lakshmi AB, tell me the triangle law of vector addition.
If two vectors are represented in the magnitude and direction in the same order, the resultant third side of the triangle will be in the opposite direction.
In the opposite order. Opposite order. Then the same question to Pooja. Triangle law of vector addition. This is a very, very important law of this chapter.
If two vectors are represented in magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle, which is taken in the same order, then their resultant is represented by the third side of the triangle taken in the opposite order.
All right. Anaga, triangle law of vector addition. Anaga.
If two vectors are represented in magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle taken in same order, then the resultant is represented by the third side of the triangle taken in the opposite order.
All right. Then Alantina, what about the first case of vector addition that we are discussing here?
Ma'am, will you say the question once again?
What about the first case of vector addition that comes under the graphical method?
If two vectors which are acting along the same direction, then the resultant will be the sum of the magnitude of the two vectors.
All right. Then Basma, the second case that comes under this graphical method of vector addition. Basma. Same question to Irene. The second case that comes under the graphical method of vector addition. First method is if two vectors are acting along the same direction, then the resultant vector is the sum of the magnitude of the two vectors. The second case, John Jose, what about our second case?
If two vectors are in the opposite direction, then the resultant vector will be the difference of the two vectors.
Okay, then the resultant vector is the difference in the magnitude between the two vectors. Then Anjana Sunil, what about the direction of the resultant vector in that case? Direction of the resultant vector. What about the direction of the resultant vector? The direction of the resultant vector should be the direction of the vector with the greater magnitude. Okay, so we have one more law of vector addition, that is parallelogram law. We can discuss the parallelogram law in next class.